Welcome back to Fashion. Here's some time for my review of the sprint race for the Formula 2 round at Yas Marina. Of course, the final round of the season. This is the penultimate race with, of course, the final race of the season, feature race, of course, going tomorrow. So, some notes before the race even got started. So, Miney got a 3-place grid penalty for some action that he did during qualifying, so that actually dropped him 3 places on the sprint grid. Antonelli also withdrew from the race. Seems like he was not feeling well. So yeah, hopefully he's feeling better soon. So Cordial started on pole, Durskin started P2, definitely an interesting front row there. Bortoletto, of course, 0.5 points ahead of Hadjo going into this race. Hadjo, of course, also starting 3 positions ahead of Bortoletto. Would have been 2, but because of Miney's grid penalty, it actually increased to 3 positions. So, taking a look at the start, let's see if we can get this right. Taking a look at the start, Marty got the best start, and he actually took the lead of the race from the first corner, coming from 3rd on the grid, so excellent start from him. Martins also spun at the turn 6 chicane, as it got spun around in the turn 6 chicane as well, so unfortunate for him. At the first corner, I think Miney had a really good start as well. He locked up and put a ton of pressure on the 2 cars on the outside of him. So yeah, a bit of a tough start there for those drivers. Bortoletto 7th and Hadjo 9th after that opening lap of the race. Lap 2 though, first opening laps of the race, Bortoletto really good pace, and he was just picking cars off one by one. He was up to 5th by the end of lap 2, whereas Hadjo actually dropped a position down to 10th, but would eventually get past Miata for P9 at turn 8. Lap 3, Bortoletto overtakes Durskin for P4. Next lap overtakes Cordial for P3 at turn 8 as well. And then lap 6 overtakes his teammate Miney for 2nd place at turn 6. So Bortoletto really good pace at opening stint, doing what he has to do to try to put himself in the best position for the F2 championship title tomorrow. Miata also got a 10-second penalty for spinning Martins, so yeah, he was the driver who spun Martins round. Lap 7, Cordial had a big lockup at turn 6. Lap 8, Aaron overtakes Miney for turn 6, and Miney, really struggling with tires, really fell down the field at this point. And Hadjo as well, also struggling a bit to get past as well. Lap 12, Behrman, black and white flag for track limits. And this is where Hadjo came on the radio complaining about Bogdanovich in front of him, saying that he was driving, he was desperate for his life, basically. And of course, for Hadjo, this was very important because he doesn't want to lose any points to his championship rival, Bortoletto. Lap 15, Esterson also got black and white flag. Lap 17, Cordial goes off at turn 12, but continues just a lockup, carrying too much speed into the corner. Aaron overtakes Cordial for P3 at turn 8. Then, lap 18, we have contact between Durskin and Cordial at turn 6, and the end result is that Durskin gets spun around and he would end up retiring in the pit. So unfortunate for him after a very good starting position. Cordial also drops behind Behrman, so I think might have gotten some damage there. And Cordial just kind of locked up and carrying too much speed in that corner, I felt, and I thought he was primarily responsible for that contact there. Let's see, Behrman, 5-second penalty for track limit, so unfortunate for him. And then John Bennett as well also gets penalty for track limits. Bogdanovich overtakes Cordial P5 at turn 6, and Cordial was given a 10-second penalty for that contact with Durskin, which I thought was fair. Lap 22, Hadjo finally gets past someone. Unfortunately, it's not Bogdanovich, but it's actually Cordial, and that moves him up into P6 at turn 6. And Miata then also got past. So Cordial basically race ruined. Really struggled with tires, just didn't really have the pace, which not entirely surprised because that's kind of he's always been one of the slowest drivers in F2. Kind of got a little bit lucky with, of course, reverse grid for sprint qualifying, but again, I guess did a good enough job in qualifying to warrant that position. Bortoletto P2, Behrman drops to P5 at the checkered flag with his penalty, so didn't lose too many positions. Hadjo P6, and of course the big news after the race, of course, after Marty took the checkered flag to win that F2 sprint race, was that Paul Aaron was actually disqualified, and he had his pole position basically revoked because it's the stewards basically noted that the team knowingly modified the front wing, the DRS flap in the rear wing, so that it's actually a lot like slightly bigger. So you have less and bigger drag reduction than you are supposed to have, which is obviously can have massive ramifications for the speed of your car, right? So yeah, that's big. Got disqualified from the sprint race, and then basically has to start the feature race from Plum last. And of course, he was already out of the championship, but again, that's a pretty big significant penalty there for Aaron. And then in terms of championship implications as well, it means that Hadjar again moves up another spot. So again, he kind of gets helped by that. The gap between himself and Bortoleto, I believe, is 4.5 points going into your championship desire. So taking a look at your full race result, you have Marty win, Bortoleto second, and Bogdanovich now moves up to third with Aaron's disqualification. Behrman fourth, Hadjar fifth, sixth Browning, seventh for sure, eighth Crawford with the final point in eighth. Gerther, 9th, Fornaroli, 10th, your F3 champion, of course, debuting this race, filling in for Zane Maloney, who, of course, made his Formula E debut this weekend. 11th, Miata, 12th, Villa-Gomez, 13th, Cordial, 14th, Esterson, 15th, Bennett, 16th, Miney, 17th, Mansell, 18th, Shields, and 19th, Martin. So I think was like a lap down or so after the contact on the opening lap. Your 1 DNF is Doshkin, your disqualification is Aaron, and your withdrawal, I guess, or DNS is Antonelli, of course. So there you go. There's my review of the F2 sprint race for Yas Marina. Pretty exciting race, although I think in comparison to the Formula E race that just happened, maybe a little bit on the boring side. But again, not everything can sometimes be as chaotic as Formula E tends to be. But anyway, thank you so much for watching, and that'll be all for my review, and I'll be back in a bit with my review for F1 qualifying and for Formula E. So that's all, and goodbye.